Kia ora, welcome to The Forest, where we will be discussing the us-them binary. A binary is a social construct made up of two opposite beliefs commonly held in today's society. An example of this is the us versus them binary, which divides society into two opposite groups of people. Us, the group an individual belongs to, and them, the group they view as opposite. This binary is created naturally and isn't inherently negative. For example, individuals are naturally born into families, making them part of the us community that family fosters, including their immediate and extended family, their culture, the language they speak, the nation they live in, and so on. They naturally become part of these groups, while other groups can remain foreign to them. Furthermore, despite the natural cause of this binary, it has an impact greater than just the natural group individuals are part of. Us-them often creates good guys within us and bad guys within them. This can be harmful as it can create exclusion and a feeling of lack of belonging. This can be polarizing and promote in-group bias, which fosters stereotypes and prejudice. This can include hate or discrimination towards the opposite group, which instead of fostering unity can lead to conflict and tension. It can be argued that all binaries fall under the category of us-them, as they all play a part in separating society into different groups, which fuels stereotypes and division. Other binaries such as woman-man, global north, global south, and local foreign are in turn reinforced. All binaries have something in common. They divide the world into allies and enemies, which further separate society. Overall, binaries often lack truth. They're a way of oversimplifying complex global realities.
Aotearoa New Zealand prides itself on its diversity, equity and inclusion and is a melting pot in every way, with an extensive range of cultures, political views, ethnicities, religious beliefs, gender identification and sexuality. The us-them binary prompts the formation of harmful stereotypes, particularly dangerous living in a country with so many different positionalities and views, as it allows easy categorization of individuals into collectives based on their perceived differences from us, rather than inciting genuine interest in learning about different people. This causes us to make negative assumptions rather than being open to the individuality and uniqueness of others. In New Zealand, the us-them binary turns sour when we make mass generalizations and stereotypes based on the groups that we create with it, including ethnic stereotyping, extremely common with our 30% immigrant population, and gender and sexuality stereotyping, with 1 in 20 adults in New Zealand identifying as part of the LGBTQIA+ community, and many, many more. Given that we are a society made up of so many different constituents, we should also be aware of how us-them binaries affect our own perceptions of ourselves as individuals. This binary is easy to use as the foundation for one's identity, but prompts us to create internal identity constructs in relation to distinct groups. This form of the us-them binary underpins the essence of social exclusion: us, who fit within this group, and them, who fit within that group. This is an extremely prevalent issue, especially amongst young people in Aotearoa New Zealand, and highlights the importance of being aware of the effects that this binary has on our perceptions of others, but also on our perceptions of ourselves.
Beyond the New Zealand context, the us versus them binary fosters harmful assumptions, reinforcing prejudice and bias that affect us socially, economically, and politically. This hinders our ability to address systemic and global issues that transcend the borders and boundaries that we construct. Globally, this prevents cooperation between groups, cultures, and nations, reinforcing the perceived differences between us and them. Even within communities or within these 5 birds, not one individual is the same as another, yet we amplify the division rather than emphasizing the similarities. This mindset deepens social class divides. It also links to psychological constructs like zero-sum thinking, where one group's gain is at the expense of others, fueling competition and the urge to protect us from them. For instance, during the 1992 LA riots, socioeconomic disparities between Korean Americans and Black communities, both minorities within the US, were amplified. Rather than focusing on the systemic inequalities that created these conditions, the two minority groups were in competition with one another. There was no sense of all or together, only us and them. Even today, there's often huge pressure to pick a side. Many nationalist societies push individuals with multicultural identities to prioritize one part of their identity over another, rather than celebrating the individuality that comes with multi-ethnic and cultural backgrounds. These binaries have the ability to negatively shape how we perceive the world and others, dividing people into 2 separate groups. We must dismantle these boundaries in order to embrace our diverse but complex world.
How can you make a difference and challenge the us-them mentality? Start by becoming aware of what you say and the assumptions you make. 1. Try to use more inclusive language and avoid stereotypes when talking about unfamiliar people. Leaving behind divisive words and phrases such as "those people," "they don't belong here," or "it's not our problem." These words suggest abnormality, privilege, and lack of inclusion. 2. Learn about groups that you are not a part of. Research can go a long way. Inform yourself about structures, conflicts, and history involving a certain community. This can lead to more sympathy and understanding, as well as interest in interacting with people outside your group. Remind yourself about how different experiences shape communities.
Challenging the us versus them binary can reduce harmful behavior such as racism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, and other negative polarizations, which have impacts on the navigation and future of this interconnected globe. Benefits could be seen in the revision of historically biased and unjust laws to ones that promote inclusivity, overturning unconscious marginalization of minority groups that have been overlooked on political platforms. Awareness of the existence of this binary and limiting the stereotypes formed as a result promote less prejudice, inciting a more inclusive society and world. This supports the growth of trust and cooperation, increasing personal and international relations, aiding all to become better global citizens. As the world continues to become more globalized, the us versus them mentality becomes more damaging and more flawed. Everyone to some degree is part of a group, so why continue the fight for superiority when we all have something positive to offer? Receiving diverse ideas and accepting the diversity of modernity can help us, humans or birds in this case, evolve together through open communication and celebrating collective successes. Drop the fear of change and embrace the possibility of a more inclusive and connected future.